Party people, what's going on? Samaj Marsh. I'm the founder of BlueDeathValley.com. I want to welcome you guys back to another special edition. This is the post-spring game, spring camp edition of Inside the Valley, the podcast that's devoted to relentless coverage of A&T football. And of course, I got two co-hosts, but only one of them's here right now. The other one's in transit, might be joining us later. But right now, the man on the right, always polite. He is longtime A&T insider, beat writer on BlueDeathValley.com for over 2 decades. Currently, he still serves as the president of the Greensboro chapter of the AAF. You're not resigning, are you? You're not. I heard somebody stepping down, but that's not you, right? You still intact, right?
I am uncommitted.
Oh, okay. Well, he's still employed right now, and that of course is my right hand man, CT. What's up, Craig Turner?
Not much, Samaj. It's good to be back. It's a lot of things have transpired over the last few weeks, and
yes.
But it's summertime. It's rapidly begins summertime, and A&T football is open again, and looks promising. Too early to tell yet, but it looks promising.
Yep, we had a spring game, our annual blue and gold spring game on this past Saturday. Warm day, got a lot warmer after kickoff, and basically, like Coach Sean Gibbs said when he got here, his vision is kind of like my vision, is to make that spring game not just some years do, and bite the fans out, but he wanted to make it an actual event. So for the first time, I believe in school history, this spring game, the video was recorded and aired live in real time on Saturday, and I think they streamed it through Flow Sports. So even if you didn't get a chance to make it out to the stadium, and they had a decent crowd. It wasn't one of the best in previous years, but it was a lot of family and friends of the players and coaches were in attendance. But if you didn't get a chance to make it out to Truist Stadium, you were able to watch it live, and you can still watch it on the Flow website and the Flow app. So that's pretty cool. Now, I don't know. I guess the coaches are not too worried about the opponents watching that video and scouting us for the upcoming year. Coaches are some paranoid people, Craig. But I guess they figure they're gonna speed things up anyway. Yeah. But and like I said, Doug Brown's this third leg of this triumphant, and he's right now, he's an AD fresh, so he has some responsibilities and crosstown with High Point Andrews. They have a baseball game, I think, tonight. So once that game is over, he'll try to hustle back here and get on. But Craig, real quick, give me your initial thoughts of that spring game we saw on Saturday.
Well, I thought we were. I was looking at personnel more so than anything else, because that's pretty much with the roster turnover we had. We basically turned half of our roster over from a year ago, probably more than half now. So I wanted to see what our personnel would look like. And before the season, right after the season last year, and right before recruiting started, Coach Gibbs remarked he wanted to get bigger, more aggressive people, guys who were going to play with play with an edge, and he wanted to be up tempo, bring more speed to the in the camp. And for the most part, he has done that. We're considerably larger as a team in general than we were a year ago.
Okay.
I think we're quicker than what we were much quicker than what we were last spring. I was just really impressed. The group that really impressed me the most was the secondary.
Yeah, I concur. Really,
yeah, I really like what I saw in secondary. Much taller, longer, quicker reaction. I think that that was a major weak point. Everybody knew it last year, being able to go over the top pretty much at will. And the new personnel that have come in here has really changed the dynamic. We've had a lot of changes in the coaching staff over the summer, and I can see a distinct difference in the approach that the new coaches have taken with the kids, and they're much more aggressive. They're talking to each other on defense. They're much more active, and there's an aggression level there that I had not seen in the last 3 or 4 years. So, yeah, I like what I saw.
Yeah, and you could tell, like Coach Gibbs, all throughout the season, especially towards the end of last year, he kept harping on the C word, culture, right? Culture,
Right.
culture. He wanted to change the culture. It's still more accountability. It's still more effort, right? And it's still more discipline. And I think you saw all three of those things in action this past Saturday. One of the coolest things that I observed was every time the defense, first team, second, third, whoever, every time the defense unit came on the field, everybody had to go touch the football.
Right.
And excuse me, boy, this after me talk about pollen, this I'm losing a heavyweight fight with this pollen every morning. But one of the things that they instilled was everybody had to go touch the football and as a unit, and it was excuse me, ma'am. It was indicative of just kind of like one heart, one mind, and when you got 11 guys moving in unison like that, it's going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, I agree. The atmosphere on that field, just watching those players, those guys are pretty well jacked up for a spring scrimmage or whatnot.
Right.
There's an enthusiasm. There was a spring in their step. They ran from one station to another. They quickly got back in huddles after plays and contact. You didn't see anybody, just standing around looking. Everybody was involved, whether they were on the sidelines or in the huddle. The little things, like you said, you noticed that you didn't see anybody, looking at phones or doing high signs into the crowd, and posing and all that kind of stuff that you normally see. You didn't see any of that. It was all purely about football. And
nobody was loafing.
Yeah, that discipline element is in there. Is there? At least in the spring, it showed that there has been a culture change with all the off the field changes as far as staff and transfers and new players coming in and new freshmen. There's definitely a change there. I think Coach Gibbs now has the atmosphere where he wants it, as far as his team is concerned. I think the nonchalant, so we'll just ease into it. No, there's a sense of urgency out there.
That's a great way to describe it. Sense of urgency. Yeah, everything was intentional, right? There was a rhyme and reason for everything, and everyone knew it. A lot of competition. I didn't do a head count of how many guys we had out there, but the numbers seemed pretty decent. I know some years with the academic issues, guys being held out, it seemed kind of light, but this year seemed like we're back to normal. And of course, you mentioned the three new coaches. So last year at the end of the season, Coach Gibbs announced that a longtime offensive line coach, Ron Mattis, was retiring, and that he was not bringing back wide receiver coach Nate Poole and outside linebackers coach Trey Lance. And so to fill that void on the staff this year, I guess this last couple of months, this spring actually, he brought in new offensive line coach Donovan Jackson, who has some NFL ties, and I think he not recently, but previously coached high school ball here in Greensboro. I think he was at Northeast, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. And then he's going to be new offensive line coach, and the new wide receiver coach is Al Vance Robinson. Did he coach at Hampton? He coached at Hampton.
I believe he was. He's been a little bit of everywhere, but
yeah,
I believe he
did.
Resume. I think he was there for a short period of time, but he spent a lot of his time coaching and playing it up in the Canadian Football League.
Okay.
He's cut his real teeth. I think was when he was assistant coach and coordinator on Division II level.
Right. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Right. So he's got a lot of experience. He was at Gardner Webb for a while, and he was a wide receivers and passing game coordinator down at Gardner Webb. So he's got both the pro and the college experience of coaching at this level and above this level.
Yeah.
And
Nate Poole was a good one. Nate Poole, his predecessor, also had NFL experience, but sometimes you just need a new voice. For whatever reason, the messaging needs to get updated, and sometimes you need a new set of eyes to look at a problem, right? And so we got a new wide receivers coach, and also the new outside linebackers coach is a gentleman by the name of Charles Cheek. And like you said, I don't know much about Charles Cheek. I am not going to profess to be, follow his career closely, but those outside linebackers and safeties were flying around Saturday. I know that. So they look pretty good. And like you said, Craig, it was noticeable that we seemed a little bit more aggressive, I guess, intentional with the way we were bringing pressure and hitting guys and rallying around the ball. So I think that's promising.
Yeah, Cheek spent 2 years as assistant down at Southern. He's a Grambling guy.
Okay.
As far as degree is concerned, but he coached at Southern for a couple of years, and he was in the high school ranks this past year, working down out of Georgia. So he's bringing. That's always good to have those contacts in and around that Georgia area, because we know that Georgia's loaded with great football talent. So you got somebody who's coming in who's got FCS experience, but also has strong ties to the programs down in Georgia. So that is solid on both. That's a good solid hire on both counts, especially when it comes to recruiting. I can't emphasize enough. You're only as good as your players. I don't care what kind of coach you are. You can be the greatest. You can be the greatest coach since Vince Lombardi, but if you don't have the players, it's only so much you can do.
Right. And I think Coach Gibbs and the staff understand that. I think they share that sentiment, and they've been working hard. We had our last show. Last time we were together, we had our little signing day recap show. We talked about all the players, the exciting players that we bringing in. Some of them guys are already on campus. Some guys, I think, some of the names actually played Saturday in the spring game, and then even more coming. Who was the tall safety we got from Florida? Fionn, you remember that? What was his
name? God, can't remember his last name off the top of my head. Hold on for a second. It's Fionn. I want to say Fionn Day, but let me.
I want to say Fionn Day too. That sounds like it's that. If we got it wrong, so somebody look it up. You go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. Fionday. Yeah,
Yeah,
Fionday.
okay.
Yeah, I saw him there. I saw him out there Saturday too.
And look,
Good
Craig,
looking kid.
Craig, I'd like to say, I've seen this film. I have never seen him in play with my own eyes, but I've seen him on film, and I seen him in person. I saw him. He was on the other side. I was gonna say hey to him, but I think somebody was asking me a question. It might have been Troy asked some dumb questions that got me distracted. But I saw him, and that dude is every bit 6'3". So sometimes people kind of gloss up their height and their measurements when they're in high school. That's a big dude, and he's not a skinny guy either. He looked like he's already been preparing for that physicality of Division I football, because he doesn't look like he's still in high school. So that like I say, trust me, you got to earn it here. Your high school film is your high school film, but if there was an APB for like a power 4 safety, if we put out an APB, they would arrest him, because he looks like the real deal. 6'3", got to be around 200 now. So and broad shoulders. He was standing up next to, I think, Tony McCray, and was dwarfing. I mean, Tony McCray ain't the tallest guy, but he dwarfed Tony McCray. So I was like, and I know Tony was like, good. If I got these type of tools to work with now, I'm gonna really be able to dial some stuff up. So shout out to him. There was a lot of other kids from the most recent recruiting class that were in attendance. And I say we talked about the secondary. And before we jump into that, so we're going to go through pretty much the whole spring game. It was actually shown on Flow Sports, so a lot of people saw it, who even people from out of town. We're going to open up the show to the fans at some point, the Misfits, as I love to call them, get their thoughts on everything that happened. And we need, the elephant in the room. We talked about change and culture and all that kind of stuff. The big news that came out the past week was that our longtime athletic director, Earl Hilton, and the school, they announced that they're going to part ways at the end of his current contract. So I definitely got my thoughts on that. And everyone was asking me my thoughts on that Saturday. So I was like, you got to tune in on Wednesday night to hear what I got to say about that. But, no question, I've been outspoken about a lot of things with the administration. And, it's been almost, he's been here since the year 2000 in administrative capacity. I know he was first got here student affairs, but since 2010, he's been serving as our athletic director. And I don't think it's a stretch to say he's the most decorated athletic director in school history. When they put out his press release on the news of him leaving, they listed a lot of his accomplishments. And I mean, you just got to stand back and be in awe. So kudos to him for a great career. And we'll talk a little bit more in depth of what that means, because obviously now we're at a crossroads. This is a crucial summer. I think the title of this show was "The Crucial Summer Awaits," and now we got to figure out how we fill that void, and what does that mean for football, and what does that mean for the university in general, right? Because he was connected to a lot of big decisions, Craig. He was really close with the previous chancellor, Harold Martin, and it's no secret, both of them are kind of like the poster child for us leaving the MEAC and going into the Big South and now the CAA. So a lot of stuff to chew on and talk about. We'll get to that at some point in the show. But so let's stick with football for now, right?
Okay.
And in my opinion, this spring game was promising and encouraging, but it still presented a lot of questions. And I don't know if all the questions I had going into the spring game were answered. The number one question, guys, everybody in the chat, please give me your thoughts. The number one question I had was, have we decided who's going to be under center for us in 2026? Do we have a bona fide QB1? And in your opinion, Craig, was that question answered enough for you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Right.
And because I obviously the biggest thing is that the quarterbacks we've got. I think the quarterbacks we've got are capable enough. The
Right.
question is whether has one of them separated from the
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
No, no, they
Hmm.
haven't. I think I was uh, KJ White is obviously the guy right now. If he were going to start playing tomorrow, he would definitely probably be the starter.
You think so?
But if you were playing today,
Okay.
if you were going to play today, and I think going into fall camp, he probably will be. He'll probably be it will be his job to lose, but I think he can be overtaken. Not to say he's a bad quarterback. He's a good quarterback.
Right.
But is he consistent enough to what you need to really have at a quarterback is consistency.
Yeah.
And is he consistent enough? Is he accurate enough? We know that he has the ability to run. We know he has the ability to buy time. But it's going to be the guy that is the leadership part of it, aspect of it. I'm not overly concerned about. The question is he the best quarterback we have in the program? And I don't know yet. Braxton Thomas did not play Saturday, and Braxton Thomas is a talent.
Yeah.
He's a legit talent. His season got cut short because of the injury down at UCF. But if you've ever really paid close attention to his ability to recognize and get the ball out on time and his accuracy, that's going to be a battle. You got Austin Hooker back from his knee injury from a year ago.
Yeah.
Blitz very mobile Saturday. Threw the ball on time. So and he's got a lot. He's long in the tooth as far as being in the program and experience wise.
Yes.
Then you got Champ Long, who I think is still feeling his way. Had some moments Saturday that he looked fairly good. Had some moments that he didn't look so good. So I think it's still open. I don't think anything's been decided at quarterback. If the question is now, do we have a quarterback on campus that can lead this football team? The question is yes. The next thing is, which one is it going to be? I think that's the question that needs to be answered. Which one is going to separate themselves when they come back in here in late July?
And I was hoping, I know as a football coach, you love competition. You want to see your guys not just, kick up their feet and feel entitled, right? But also you want to be able to, when you're making your game plan, you put your, the final stamps on your program, you want to have some definites, like when you playing spades, you want to see, you want to know I got a couple of possibilities, but I got some definites here. I'm gonna hit them with this, and we gonna run to Boston, right? But I don't think that we're there as a program yet. I think it's been well documented what happened that second week of the season this past year when we went down to Orlando. And
three quarterbacks in one game.
Three quarterbacks, one game, and you talk about KJ White. He fell on his elbow, dislocated elbow. He was out. Braxton Thomas fell on his elbow, dislocated elbow. He was out for the rest of the year. And then Jai Walls, who was a true freshman at the time, he gets sacked. He breaks his collarbone, ends up playing the rest of the game, just hand the ball off. Shows how tough he is, obviously. And so Jai Walls and Champ Long actually rehabbed and made it back into the spring game Saturday. Braxton Thomas, who you alluded to, is still trying to get back to 100%. And so we should see him later on in the summer and fall. But he should be somebody who's going to compete. I think it's open. I don't, like you said, KJ White, he probably played the majority of the season last year. He came in after he came in right at the Central game, and at times he looked like he was poised to really put his grip on that position and not let go. Had a really strong outing at Maine. Had another story performance at William and Mary.
Yeah,
But
he's
then
outstanding up there.
Yeah, I mean, he was a play. He was staying in the pocket. He was throwing with velocity, throwing with touch, hitting guys down the field. Still had some elusiveness, but all in all, he kind of, like I said, the inconsistency started to mount towards the end of the year. Had a rough game at homecoming with the two costly fumbles. Towards the end of the year with Stony Brook, and then not Clint Campbell, Elon. Now he don't think he played in the Elon game, but the game before that, I think it was Campbell game. He still was kind of, even though we won that game, he was up and down. So there was a lot of questions that still remain in his ability to be QB1. He's still not the biggest guy. I know people said he looked a little bigger Saturday. I still think he needs to try to get a nutritionist, put on 8 to 10 pounds of muscle if he really wants to look like a Division I quarterback in September. Missed a lot of throws deep, and he has an arm. I still would probably gamble that he has the strongest arm. If you stood on a goal line and had a throwing contest, he probably can throw the ball the deepest on anybody on the roster. But if you're throwing deep balls to the dirt and incompletions 10 yards over by somebody's hand, it don't really matter, right? The job is to get the ball to the receiver, and he struggled Saturday and he struggled at times last year. Now he's still an explosive playmaker, and when he gets in the rhythm, he can tear a defense apart. Same with Champ Long. Champ Long had some nice plays early on in the spring game Saturday, and then towards the end, I think he started to kind of got down on himself, missed some throws. His mechanics broke down. He was skipping some balls like a rock on the park in a pond. Towards the last part, I think he started getting fatigued and just mentally got out of whack. Champ Long, in my estimation, is the quintessential rhythm quarterback. Right? If he gets into a rhythm, and he started getting a couple completions under his belt, he's almost unstoppable. But if you get him uncomfortable, if you move him out his spot, and he doesn't, get that rhythm, then he struggles. And that's the challenge on how can you settle him down when bad things are happening. We saw last year he had that fumble issue. And it started, and it came contagious. Every time he ran out the pocket, it was like he was shooting dice. The ball was just coming out quick. So we got to fix that. But there's a reason why the coaches haven't given up on him, because he is a true talent. Probably the best mechanics, I would say, from a quarterback position on the roster. My estimation. I love his feet. He's always balanced. Until that pressure comes, he has to move. He's not the best. He's not the best quarterback on the move. He's he's the best pocket quarterback. Well, I think him and Austin Hooker will probably have a good competition on that. But that brings me to Austin Hooker. Austin Hooker, like you said, the elder statesman, the prodigal son. He was here. He left, had a cup of coffee at FAMU, came back, got hurt early last year, got a medical red shirt. This is his last year of eligibility. He didn't want to transfer down. He didn't want to go anywhere else. He wanted to play. He wanted to live out his dream, his goal of being a QB1 at A&T. I've been to a couple of scrimmages this spring where he was QB1, looked damn good. QB1, the first quarterback to come out on the field this past Saturday was KJ White. Excuse me. Yeah, it was Kevin White Jr.
Exactly.
And I think Austin Hooker was third. I don't know if that means he was third on the depth chart at that point. That might have just been a random thing because I know there was times in the spring when he started, right? So it's still hard to say what you have in Austin Hooker. He looks just like his dad. They got the same type of physique. He's a little bit slimmer than his brother, but you can see he has those Hooker characteristics, right? And I think he probably knows the offense better or as good as anybody else because he had a whole year of being almost a player coach last year. He didn't miss a beat. He didn't just feel sorry for himself. He was at the practices, watching film, helping other guys get better all last year. So Austin Hooker is still somebody to keep an eye on. Jai Walls, true freshman from the Pittsburgh area, played one game last year, broke his collarbone, and that was out, and that was it. So he showed he got his return to action last Saturday. I think he ended up throwing a touchdown pass on the run, looked pretty good. Had a few throws, probably went back, but I think he had a good reintroduction to the game of football. Who am I forgetting? Those four, Braxton Thomas, right?
Braxton Thomas, yeah, who didn't play.
Did not play, but he will play.
But I got,
yeah.
I mean, just from my standpoint, from when he did play last year, he's good. He's going to be really good.
Yeah, and Craig, he has moxie, right? I remember the post game interview following, I think, because he played against Tennessee State, almost led a dramatic comeback to force overtime, and he was trending. He was on a trajectory to be the starting quarterback, and then the fate of the UCF game happened, and that was it for him. But I could see him winning the job. But the problem, this is bringing me to my point. The problem is we are now in April, 2 weeks from May, and we don't have an idea, right? So we got about 3.5 more months until we come back here to get ready for the fall football season, and anything can happen. Your guess is as good as mine, Go ahead. Right now, Craig, handicap. Who do you think is going to, when we play Georgia State in week one, who's going to be the first quarterback around the field, in your opinion?
I have no idea, because the way things go in college football now, who knows? You might end up seeing somebody out of the portal pop up here on campus one day.
Oh, no.
This will be me. You can't never tell. I used to say that would never happen, but there's no such thing as never anymore in college athletics. Strange things happen every single day. So I wouldn't even venture a guess. I don't think we'll know until about 2 weeks into about 2 weeks into fall camp. I think by then we'll know pretty much who's going to do what. I don't think any of them will have much success or consistent success without a good offensive line. And that was the other part of the practice that I saw that I was really pleased with was the new offensive line. The job that new offensive line coach has done with those kids in just 15 practices. Personnel are different, for pretty much different from there's a few holdovers, but most of those guys are new. But I can tell you one thing: they're way more athletic than they were a year ago. They've got really good size up front, much quicker coming off the ball. I really like how it's trending as far as the offensive line is concerned. I think the transfers in that is going to make a demonstrative difference in our running game. So I was pleased with the secondary and the offensive line play. I was really impressed with.
We had some big losses on offensive line. Of course, Corian Sharp graduated. Sterling Wiggins took his talents to I think Arkansas State, and of the Sun Belt Conference, and I think we lost another lineman there, and so we got an infusion of new guys, and they have to learn to gel under the new offensive line coach. I thought some good things with them. I thought the protection was pretty good at times. Opened up some running lanes. Not as much. I don't. I think the defensive line probably got the best of the offensive line overall.
And they
Saturday
should in spring ball. If
in
it
the
was
spring they should be
opposite,
ahead.
I would be concerned. I'd be a real
Yeah,
concern if
right.
if the if the offensive line was dominating the defense in spring ball. It
Yeah,
should always be where the defense dominates the offense.
right. And I think there's still some work to do with the getting the center snaps and
Yeah.
everything figured out. We had some slow snaps and some high snaps. And when you are a read option RPO type of offense, then it's all about timing. And when you waiting to catch that ball, the hand that fake off, this being a tick off throws off everything. So we got to get that fixed. And this is still a work in progress. So you want to work out that stuff in the spring and get it ready when for the fall. So nothing to panic over. It's just something to say. This is an area we got to still kind of tune up a little bit. And I know do you anticipate any new faces on that line? I mean, I know we got some freshmen and all, but pretty much what we saw Saturday, is that going to be the group that we're going to kind of go forward with, you think?
I think, yeah, I think the top the 10 guys that rotated out between first and second teams will probably be your rotation,
Yeah.
unless something unless one of these unless some freshman comes in and just his head and shoulders better than
Yeah.
what we ever anticipated. But no, I think the 10 guys that were rotated between those first two units, because with offensive linemen you platoon them, and you platoon them as units, and you also platoon them as individuals. I think that first 10 are going to be pretty good. I agree with you. We do need to clean up the center play.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that really it was inconsistent, uh, and we need to we got to nail that down during the summer. And I think during the summer, I think you will have a lot more time for the quarterbacks and the center or centers to work on their snaps. Uh, but it's spring. I think it was more of a case for A&T. I think it was to establish an attitude in spring
Yeah.
ball and getting new people acclimated to the way we do things more so than the X's and O's that a lot of people are used to with a more seasoned team.
Yeah.
So.
And that's probably why Coach Gibbs didn't mind showing it to the world. Like he
Right.
I think what he wanted to showcase, because everything he does is deliberate, right? He's just not
Yeah. Very
he
much
don't do
so.
anything by chance, right? So this is always that four-dimensional chess player. But I think the reason why he wanted to showcase that game live um, was because he wanted to show the new culture, the new discipline, and just how they were going to move as one. And I think he said there's a lot of work to do, work in progress, but you can see the stamp of things being a little bit different. Now, is that going to make a major difference in the win-loss column this year? Still to be decided, right? I think, and I'll be super candid, right? Last year, I think we were at a talent deficit against a lot of the opponents we played.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I mean, I'm not knocking the guys who are working hard and trying to get, do what they can for A&T. I just think, we had guys playing our position out of necessity, and we, especially with the point of attack on the line of scrimmage. I think we had guys who were undersized and young, playing against seasoned veterans, from some other CAA schools, and it was at times it was just a mismatch. So hopefully we can address that. I know Coach Harbor is going to get those guys as best shape as he can over the next couple months. We still got time. It's not like you got to take a snapshot of where you saw Saturday and that's it. We still got time to get better. I hope, and I love competition, but I hope we figure out the quarterback position sooner rather than later. I do not want to go to fall camp with a 5-man quarterback battle because then you don't get that timing with the center because everybody has a different cadence and everybody catches the snap a little bit. You don't get that continuity when you got 5 guys getting equal looks and I don't know what's it going to take, but somebody you might just have to close your eyes and just pin the tail on a donkey or whatever. You just got to find some guy who you're going to ride or die with, and hopefully that guy can take you to where you need to go. And I understand last year we needed all 7 guys who were in the program because of injuries. I don't think that's a recipe for championship success. You really want a bell cow quarterback. And you also want a bell cow running back. We saw Wesley Graves. He departed. He graduated last year. He was kind of our workhorse running back. And now we got some new guys who are trying to fill that role. Did you see anybody who kind of gave you a glimmer of optimism that they can be the every down back for us going into 2026?
I would say of the running backs, of all the running backs, I think 2 to me stood out. One is Shamik Blizzard. I think is I think he had a very consistent day. Got positive yards on it. The guy that really shocked me that I was not anticipating. I knew they had made the transition from offense to defense. Is Jaden Williams?
Yes.
Yeah. I did not know how that was going to work out. After playing on defense for a couple of years, how that was going to work out moving to offense. But that guy's pretty dang good. He's not a speed burner, but he is an intelligent runner.
Well, he ain't slow though, because he's
not slow.
He hit that hole and he jumped and got like 5 more yards. He went vertical over the safety. That was like one of the most athletic plays of the day. And I was like, I don't remember having a 44 at the running back position. Then, like you said, I remember, okay, that used to be our inside linebacker at the beginning of last year.
Right.
And one thing about Coach Gibbs and his crew, they're gonna try to squeeze every ounce of talent that you got. If you're on the A&T roster, if you can do anything, if you can juggle, if you got, you can walk on stilts, if you got a talent, they're gonna find it.
They'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out. They're gonna give you a chance to contribute. And Jaden Williams was starting at linebacker early on. Had some struggles. I think he basically couldn't get comfortable in the scheme. I think that he has all the talent in the world.
Had a lot to do with it.
Just had a lot of mental miscues, right? Just looking at the wrong thing, his eyes in the wrong place, and if you playing in the middle, you kind of like on Broadway. That's a center stage, and your mistakes are highlighted more than anybody else. You can't hide when you're playing inside linebacker. And so I think, they had to make a change there because they was giving some big plays up the gut. And so they found him a spot, I guess, now on the offensive side of the ball. And Craig, am I crazy for saying he looks a little bit like a Michael Basnight? A poor man's Mo Smith. I mean, that dude was running like
he reminds me a lot of James White.
Okay.
As far as running style is concerned, he reminds me a lot of James White. He's a north-south guy. He's not gonna try to dance around you or juke you out. But he runs with a high degree of intelligence. He hits the hole exceptionally fast, and that is a big major attribute for a running back because those holes don't last long. You got maybe about 0.8 of a second to hit it and go.
Yeah.
And several times, and then when he does go down with first contact, he runs over people. He reminded me a lot of James White. He really did. He really did.
That's great company.
He's gonna be a factor this fall. There's no question about it. He and Blizzard are going to get a lot of PT.
Right.
They're going to get a lot of time together.
The first running back on the field actually was Jalen Hicks, of course, the son of legendary running back Maurice Mo Hicks. Yeah. And he, like I say, when you see him out there, he looks like one of those kids from those 9U football teams that lied on their birth certificate, because he looked like he just don't belong, in that backfield. He's 6'4". And he has that track star speed, and he has some flashes, man. You can tell if he's just one tackle away from taking everything to the distance, kind of like his pop. His pop. So every time you hand the ball off to Maurice Hicks, you had to hold your breath, because he might go 80 yards in a blink. So I think Jalen had some good runs Saturday. He's learning to fall forward. You use that 6'4" frame. So even if you hit him at the line of scrimmage, it's still going to be +2, +3, right? Shameik Blizzard, still crafty in the middle of the field. Make guys miss, has that burst. Does he have the physicality to replace Graves as a 3-down back? That still has to be seen. Still kind of a slight frame. And then JT Smith, the transfer from Wofford last year, he had some injury issues, but he runs hard, right? Talk about Jaden Williams. JT Smith runs hard, and he'll run through you, and he's always going to fall forward. So we have a stable of guys. I want to see that home run hitter. We haven't had that in a couple years. So it can't always be 3 yards in cloud dust. And we had a lot of that Saturday. Some strong runs, but not anything like 20 yards. Except one, right? We had one breathtaking run, and that actually came from somebody who really wasn't even in the conversation headed into the spring game, and this guy probably had the signature moment of the whole afternoon. Let me show you this run right here real quick. Just ran over the safety, stiffed arm, the quarterback.
Hooker hands off to number 40.
What's his name?
Teriq Mclaughin.
Teriq Mclaughin.
His way down.
Let me show you one more time.
Southeast.
I know him well. Look at this. Oh, you got to bring your lunch if you're gonna tackle this kid. And I actually know this kid's story.
Hooker hands off.
That's Teriq Mclaughin, like you say, he's from the pride of Southeast Guilford, and he was actually a teammate of my son Alexander Marsh his last year at Southeast. And this kid has a story, man. Like I'm really proud of him. He's a walk-on in every sense of the word, right? He actually was a late guy. I think he started playing football maybe like his sophomore year in high school. Like this his first time ever playing football, right? Was his sophomore year in high school. And he took to the game quick. He just has that never say die attitude. Great kid. And he bet on himself, right? He actually had some offers from some smaller schools out of high school, and he was steadfast that he wanted to play for A&T. And he didn't get a scholarship offer to play at A&T. And I told him, I said, son, I know we all got dreams, but this is a new day where they got a roster limit now because of the whole NIL thing. All Division I schools have roster limits. So if you're not on there, in their plan, there might not be room for it in the end. And last season, he ended up not even being on the roster. He was kind of like a volunteer trainer, right? He was helping out with the towels and getting water for everybody else, but he stayed diligent, almost like that movie Rudy, right? He stayed diligent. Rudy wanted to play at Notre Dame, and that's all he cared about. And Teriq Mclaughin wanted to play at A&T and spent the whole year. We went, 2-10 last year, and he was still at every practice. He couldn't even go to, because of the NCAA rules. If you're not on a roster, you can't even go to the weight room and the cafeteria with the players, right? But he still came and did everything that coach asked him. Finally, this past off season, he was able to try out officially, was made the team, got a roster number, got put on the website, and he's listed in the media guide, and he got a moment. This is like the Disney story, in the spring game, and made the most of it. And hopefully, he'll get more opportunities. But shout out to Teriq Mclaughin. I know that kid well. He's a fine, great family. Like I said, Pride Southeast Guilford, and that shows all football players that if you believe in yourself and you work hard, you not just talking, but you actually put the work in there, good things can happen. And also shows you that Coach Gibbs don't care how many stars you got, how many what your pedigree is. If you can help his program, he's gonna give you a fair chance. So that's good stuff. And there's a lot of other walk-ons like that who competing for a spot to help this program out. But before we go, let me go ahead and put the link in the chat, because a lot of people want to give their thoughts on the spring game and other stuff. So here is the link to the show. I'm going to put that there in the chat. I'm also going to put it in the A&T fan forum on bluedeathvalley.com. So the Misfits, this is your call to action. If you want to come in here and talk about your experience last week and what you think about the state of football program moving forward. But Craig, so we talked about offense a little bit. Wide receivers, did you have any thoughts on what you saw from the wideouts on Saturday?
Consistent. The guys can catch. Yeah, the kids can catch. We got good length at wide receiver.
Yeah.
We got some guys that will go up and grab the ball. I was in the one kid that really stood out to me was Tony Sanchez, the red shirt, the red shirt, end. Right, red shirt tight end from Florida. That kid's got hands. He's got really good hands. Runs really good routes.
He has a catch radius too. He has a catch radius. He has a catch radius. Yeah. Like you don't have to throw right on. He can get out there and make he's a quarterback's best friend.
Yeah, he made that adjustment on that one ball that was thrown deep, the deep route towards the corner of the end zone and or along that sideline, and he made a mid-air adjustment, made a beautiful catch. He's gonna be an outstanding tight end for us. It's unusual that you see a tight end who has wide receiver speed. I think he's listed 6'3", 230. But he's a good looking. He's good. He can play wide receiver, tight end, either one. And I think they'll probably use him in both positions. Obviously, Michael Carlock Williams just keeps getting better and better every time I see him. He's rapidly developing. I see another KJ Leslie. I see another Zach Leslie type of guy. Yeah, I see another Zach Leslie type of receiver. A lot of the same general build. As he gets more experience and starts to gets bigger and stronger, I think he's going to be a go-to guy that you can count on. Obviously, Javon Dillard, I was so happy to see him. I was so happy to see him come out of the portal and come back to A&T. that's another guy. He's just consistent. Possession receiver. He doesn't do anything fancy. He's not flashy. All he does is make plays, and that's really what you want guys to be able to do is make plays. So.
And
Yeah,
did we see a Monte Jones out there too? Was I
yeah,
mistaken?
I was shocked. He must have got a medical red because he missed about half a year because of an injury.
Okay.
I guess probably about 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
So he must have got a waiver from the NCAA, and so that really helps because then that brings in that your number one slot guy is back. That will help.
Yeah.
Elijah Kennedy.
Hey, right. The most explosive special teams player in the country, bar none.
Yeah, really. He is so consistent in what he does every play, every week in and week out. He just he contributes some kind of way in a positive way as far as the offense is concerned, where he's running back punts or kickoffs or playing the slot receiver spot. He will consistently make big plays for you when called upon. So yeah, I like what I saw out of the receiver core.
Yeah. Well, I like what I see right now on the chest of our next guest. He's a long-time guy who likes to help out the show, and he's wearing some nice gear, man. Let me bring to the stage for the first time this spring, Mr. Aggie 94. What's going on, man?
Gentlemen, I got to tell you, with all the craziness that we have going on in the world,
yeah,
seeing you two guys on the screen, makes everything feel right.
Okay. You hear that, Craig? Yeah. We can help lower the gas prices. That's what he's saying, man. You know.
I didn't say that.
Well. Oh boy. Okay. Hey, 94. Good to see you. I didn't get a chance to holler at you at the game. You were in town Saturday, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there. I mean, I was down there with Misfit number 1.
Not true.
Okay.
Not true.
And I saw your face, so I was like, well, I ain't even gonna bother him. I mean, so
yeah, man.
We had a good time though. We had a good time.
That's good, man. I moved to the other side of the field because I was trying to record, and then the glare. I didn't know it was gonna be that warm out there. I knew that. It was.
No, it was borderline hot.
It was borderline hot. Yeah. So I tried to get out there, into the shadow of the visitor side, but and then by the time I came back after this game, I went on the field, talked to a couple of players, but I wish I didn't get a chance to hang with you guys, man, and I know Troy was being obnoxious, so that kind of deterred me from sticking around even more. Troy was in the building. Which if Troy's somewhere, I try to be the opposite area. So that's how that usually works.
Well, it wouldn't be the Misfits without him, though. I mean,
yeah. He has a role. He has a role. So look here, 94. Obviously, you at the spring game. First of all, give me your thoughts. Give me your truth serum on your observations Saturday, and do you think that we have closed the gap on some of our CAA peers?
So at the end of the day, guys, I mean, what we saw was a glorified practice. I mean, so I'm kind of the mindset we really won't know what we have until August 29th. I mean, when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
I think you guys hit on many of the main points. No individual players stood out, but as a collective group, I saw more size. I saw more speed, but most importantly, I saw more intentionality out there.
Yeah.
And those are things that you're hoping for. I share your concern regarding the quarterback room, but I'm going to go ahead and stake myself out and say that at most it'll be a 3-person battle. And I say through because we didn't see Braxton. I don't know how far along he is injury-wise yet, but I mean, from what I saw, it really is a battle at this point in time between Alston and KJ.
Really?
At this point in time, Braxton will be my third. Jai had some good plays. I mean, but if you're thinking about, the season and what each person brings to the table right now, if it were me, I'm looking at KJ and Alston, and I think that's where we are right now.
So you think, unfortunately, Champ Long played himself out of the competition on Saturday?
Let's just say that we want to have as many quarterbacks as we can, just based on last year. I just think that Champ has to get out of his head. Is what I will say.
Yeah. Like I said, he is one of those guys where, I mean, you can see him. That was a quarterback for Western Carolina last year. A little diminutive dude, about 5'9", 5'10". And I think he set the NCAA record with the most completions, consecutive completions. I think he had he was like 30 for 31 games or something crazy. I mean, it was insane. But Champ Long is similar, in my opinion, to that type of player where he's one step drop, 3-step drop. If he gets to his spot and he knows he's very heady, he knows how to read defenses, he knows where to go with the football, and he's probably the most accurate, right? I mean, he mechanic wise, that's textbook on how you want to load up and deliver and follow through for football. So when he's good, he's really good.
But the problem is he can't be good in isolation, and if anything breaks down, around him, he melts, and you're not going to get the perfect situation throughout the game. So, I mean, we'll see. What I'm most interested in, gentlemen, is how well the new additions and the coaching staff at large meshes together. That's going to be the key.
Got you. Well, I'll tell you one guy who doesn't mesh with anybody. And I'm talking about anybody.
Here we go.
He's hard to deal with. Very, very, very self-centered and arrogant. He'll tell you who he is and what he thinks and why he should have authority, especially on our A&T fan forum. He just gave himself a title that no one asked him to take. He's the word police, and I must give him props. He is the reigning 2-time BlueDevilValley.com Poster of the Year.
Oh, Jesus.
I am contractually obligated thus to bring him to the show right now.
He's not a doctor, is he? He doesn't walk around as a doctor.
Don't give him any ideas, Craig.
He might try to give himself a crazy.
Don't give him any idees.
It's A&T
blowing hands and all that.
The cringe.
Hey man, listen. I thought they threw you out of the stadium like I told them to throw you out. You went on the other side?
Listen.
Oh, come on, man.
That's one thing you can't control. That's where I go around my stomping grounds. Ain't no way the A&T is off limits for me. But listen here.
I'm Troy, to talk to my people.
Troy, a lot of things have transpired. We're gonna talk about them towards after this segment. But I do want to. I know you were in attendance Saturday. You made the long drive from Concord, North Carolina, to Truist Stadium. You're normally a glass half full type of guy. Were you overly encouraged by what you saw this past Saturday?
Hey, man, listen, you guys have lost your mind if you don't think it's going to be a 5-quarterback competition, at least at the beginning of fall practice.
It's too many. Troy, it's too many, man. We got to narrow that down.
That's if they don't bring in a 6th. But at least at the beginning of fall practice, I believe they all going to be in the running. And I think they'll whittle it down as they go along.
But Troy, can you develop and can you truly evaluate that many? Is there enough sample size for you to find out what you have? I mean, it worked out somewhat last year because everybody got hurt. I'm glad you had reserves, but do you know what you got on Austin Hooker? He was hurt last year. This is his time. This is his last ride, right? Do you know what you have out of Austin Hooker? Yes or no?
No, you don't. He doesn't have a lot of in-game experience. I mean,
right.
So, but it isn't just on the field, right? It's going to be in meetings.
Right.
How well they're picking up the offense, how well they are understanding what the coach wants to do. So it's going to be a lot of input in this whole thing.
Okay, so Troy and 94, you tell me, what do you think if you had to kind of get into the mind of Sean Gibbs and the quarterback coach, what do you think their criteria is? Like, what would it be the determining factor to say, you know what, I'm going to put my faith on this guy? What do they have to show the coaching staff?
Troy, go ahead and kick it off, and I'll come behind you.
Yeah, number one, ball security.
Yes. Got hold of the football. Yes.
Hey, you gotta keep that ball from going to the other team. Number two, how well you know the offense, and then number three, how well you can execute.
And I think, outside of Walls, and he's, just because he was the youngest, I think all those guys know the offense. I mean, Braxton Thomas, he knows offense inside and out. Austin Hooker does. Champ Long, he's been here since last year, and he was hurt, so he was going to meeting rooms, and he showed enough mastery of the offense in just the small time he got here last fall that he earned the starting job. And then KJ White, he has probably the most playing time of anybody on the roster.
He does. He's by far the most. And 94, I'll let you go after this. So the number one thing that I like about this team so far is this is our second year with the same OC.
Right.
All 5 of our quarterbacks played or were with him last year.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yep.
Yeah. So for me, just 2 quick points. First and foremost, and I think it's down to 3. I don't think it's 5. But who is the best equipped to manage the game? We don't need anyone that's necessarily going to win it, but who can manage the game? And most importantly, who has the confidence of the other 10 on the offensive side of the ball? Who garners the most confidence? Who do those guys believe, can, if they need a 3rd and 10, will get that 3rd and 10 for them. If they need 1 yard on the quarterback sneak, who will get that? I think those are going to be the 2 things that are going to stand out when a decision is made. But I think it's down to 3. I don't think it's 5.
And I just don't know if other schools in the CAA who want to be contenders this year are legitimately at a crossroad with 5 quarterbacks. I think most of these guys who are going to be in the mix already know who that guy is. So I think we're behind the ball just by not knowing at this point. And confidence is great. I think everybody on that roster is confident. Austin Hooker didn't bet on himself and come back for a 12th year if he wasn't confident, right? He believes that this is his birthright. And at times, I mean, look what he did at the end of the scrimmage in the overtime period. He rolled out the pocket, looked back, and found the guy wide open, made it look easy. I can see him. We talk about mastery of the offense, knowing what, where everything needs to go, and being mature and being that common presence. I could easily see Austin Hooker running out there against Georgia State. First
Morgan State's going to be the first game.
Oh yeah, Morgan State first.
Well, I think Mr. T is. I think I heard him say earlier that something along the lines that KJ is the leader in the clubhouse. So most experience, most all that stuff. Started last year. I think if we're gonna take a lead or think somebody's the lead, I think it's probably KJ and the others.
I concur. If they had to pin themselves down with somebody right now, but I don't think he has a stranglehold, not by a long shot. I really don't.
Craig, let me ask you this. Do you think we'll ever see that KJ White that we saw against Norfolk State a couple years ago when he took that read option 75 yards or whatever it was to the house? Do you think that explosiveness did he lose that on the carpet when he got injured, or will we see that guy again?
No, I think it's a maturation process. The biggest thing with KJ is he if I had to critique it, he rushes his throws. I think he's that. I think he can. I think he's a. I think he can throw the ball, and throw it well.
He's not a
But
passer.
he tends to rush. He tends to rush his throws, more so than he needs to.
94 said something. He said he's not a passer.
He's not a passer.
That's the difference between a thrower and a passer.
Well,
wow.
Well, yeah. Whatever. But I think he could be the quarterback that you're looking for. But his biggest thing is he has to play within himself. I think a lot of times he tries to make plays, and I think a lot of it had to do with the inconsistency of the offensive line from a year ago.
Rushing
yourself, and then trying to do too much. The mark of a good quarterback is he lets the game come to him rather than trying to force the action. Right. And I think that's the one thing that's probably keeping him from taking that next level to where he becomes the guy, the premier quarterback, is that he needs to settle within himself and not try to try to force a play. Because a lot of times when you get interceptions and turnovers, it's because you're trying to force it rather than making a smart play. You're trying to force the play, trying to make a play. And I know it's inherent for, coaches, players always want to make plays, make that extra play, that extra effort.
Splash play,
that splash play. But sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. And you're prone to make mistakes when you do that, when you try to force things. I think if he can get past that hurdle and settle down and just relax, especially when it's almost like his eyes get real big when he's got some guy running free, and he just heaves it, and he tends to either overthrow it or sometimes you can underthrow it as well. So, but I think that's the biggest thing is he's just got to settle in and let the game come to him.
Yeah, Troy. We missed a couple of. He wasn't the only quarterback, but there was there was some.
No, he wasn't the only quarterback that did that.
There was a number of big misses out there. Guys running about 5 yards past the defender, and we just could not connect. What do you chalk that up as? Just kind of like spring game jitters, or is there anything to be concerned about, Troy?
Hey, for those long misses, one of them it might have been caught, but he pulled up lame. I think hamstring.
Okay,
he might have been able to get to that one. Hey, listen, I think Coach Gibbs will say we still need to work on our accuracy, and I think that's a big deal. Not a big deal, but an issue with KJ. He's not as accurate as he needs to be. But of course, Mr. T makes a good point. He could be rushing. He could be not doing what he needs to do. But I will say, I think last year, that offensive line, man, it was almost on every snap, defenders were in the backfield. It seemed like someone got the ball. So,
Troy, you got a good point. I mean, we could have, if that line isn't better, we could have Jalen Hurts back there, and if they don't perform, it's not going to matter. So, I agree.
Right.
Well, I think to help out with that, you're talking about establishing a quick game, put some more emphasis on the tight end. That guy's always seems to be running free. Get the ball to him. Hand the ball off to your bell cow running back. Let him get 5-6 yards, and then it's 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3 instead of 2nd and long. I think when we get behind the sticks and having to. When everybody in the stadium knows we got to throw the ball, that's when we're not at our best, right? When we can do some play action fakes and especially you can move the pocket on some bootlegs, I think we're super dangerous. But we got time to figure it out. Let me actually see, got Dave in here.
Dave,
what's going on, man?
Dave, what you on, MD? What are you doing?
I'm efficient.
Oh, man.
The gang's all back together. We good to go now.
We good to go. Hey, so look, So look, it's good to see you, Dave, man. What the NFL draft is next week. Are you doing a special show in concert with that draft?
Thursday and Friday and Saturday, we're doing shows.
Right.
We're gonna
And-
do
and what-
from. I'm gonna be 2 out of the 3 days for sure. I'm gonna probably try to hop in for Saturday. Last year I did Saturday by myself, and I don't know if I'm gonna ever do that again.
Right. And tell everybody the name of your channel and your show that you do. For
Yeah,
the
Panther Nation podcast. If you just search PNP Rashad and Dave, we'll pop up. We're the largest independent show that covers the Panthers. We're so good that we know for a fact that the Panthers watch us. They take our stuff all the time. They've had relationships with some of the folks in that office now because of that. So, we do some pretty good work. But we started this show in April, close to good grief, 28 years ago. So we've been rocking it. Yeah, we've been rocking it for a while now. So, the draft special is always fun. We have some of our viewers come in. We talk about stuff. I jump on other shows during the extravaganza. Like I try to hit with my guys, the Royal Lions out in the UK, who covers the Lions in the UK. So I hit them up. We talk about the draft picks and stuff like that for a little bit. So we try to have fun with it, but they're marathons, man. You're talking 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
For Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
When is the draft this year?
Next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday's the first round. Friday's rounds 2 and 3, and Saturday's rounds 4 through 7.
You think any HBCU guys have a chance to get
There's only one that might have an outside shot, and that's the linebacker Eric Hunter, the linebacker from Morgan State.
That's a tough dude, boy, I tell you. And hopefully, I think Aaron Harris acquitted himself pretty well at the
He did.
What's that called? The Legacy Bowl? What is that?
They did the Legacy Bowl, and they also had an HBCU showcase about a month after.
Right.
So yeah, him, Andrew Brown, and Corian Sharp, and I know somebody that helped run that event. Gerald Huggins, he helped run that event.
Yeah,
and they all tested well. They all did what they expected to do. Andrew Brown's going to take somebody's job, man. I'm going to tell you that right now. Andrew Brown taking somebody's job.
Did Andrew Brown get invited to the combine, or
he did? He did. Well, there's a showcase for special teams. He got invited to that showcase.
Okay, good deal. So
he, he gonna take somebody's job, guys.
I know he looked good in New Orleans at the Legacy Bowl. And he was
at the showcase too. He did good there as well.
Too. Right. So good. So
best then missed a kick at the combine. Let me tell you something. He taking somebody's job, guys.
I hope so. I can see
He's
it,
taking
man.
somebody's job, man.
And of course, he was the Blue Death Player of the Year. He was a Doug Dude of the Year. So that was good to see. But check this out. We got everybody together. So there was also some other big news that came out this past week. And that, of course, was the announcement that our longtime athletic director, Earl J. Hilton, the third, was going to the social media pundits phrased it as he was retiring. And I went back over the announcement, and I didn't read that. I didn't interpret that announcement as him retiring. I think people kind of put words into his mouth. It said that he was stepping down, and it said that he would not be returning at the end of his contract, which is up this summer. The school put that out there. And I think, like when longtime offensive line coach Ron Mattis retired, he retired. They said this is a retirement. Nobody officially from A&T phrased this as a retirement. Thus, I believe that he was let go. I think the university decided to move in a different direction. And I don't know if I'm wrong. Please throw any information you have.
I have a question for you, Samaj.
Yes, sir.
Do you think he's going to collect his pension?
Well, I mean, I think money-wise, he's going to be straight. I mean,
the point I'm trying to say is he's collecting the pension. If he decides to go somewhere else, which he has the choice to do so,
right?
He's going to collect that pension. So he ended up retiring at A&T. He's been there since 2000. So from my perspective,
so why not say that Earl Hilton's retirement? Well, I mean, if obviously Earl Hilton was the person who commissioned that, he still is in charge of the athletic director. So, like, Brian didn't just type that press release on his own. Earl said, I want you to put this out here to announce that I'm leaving. Or, the school said, I want you to put this out here to announce that he's leaving. So I don't know why, if it was a retirement. And, people say, well, what's the big difference? I think that, a retirement is when you, like, if I go to my job, say I'm retiring, that's my prerogative. I think when the school says, thank you for your service, we got to do something different, then that's their prerogative. So I think it was more that way.
I don't know if we're going to get a conclusion now. I think the conclusion is going to happen on whether or not how things keep rolling as time goes on. Because Dr. Ruff retired too.
Yeah,
right.
And
they already said they're going to have events for. So let's see if we're going to have things going on for Earl. Or maybe Earl ain't the type of person that want to do those type of things. We don't know, right?
Well, like I say, I think you looked at that article and it listed all the accolades of him that he had accomplished. And actually, I just kind of want to put that in the chat. Like I say, how many years was it? Count them up, Dave. How many years was he employed here at A&T?
26 years.
26 years. So many things happen, Craig. I mean, you've seen every day of his tenure. So many highlights, right? Here's my question. What do you think was Earl Hilton's signature accomplishment at here at A&T? Well, everybody, give me your thoughts on what you think because he had a lot, right? The most decorated athletic director in school history. What do you think would it be the top of his Wikipedia page when it's all said and done?
Did he hire Coach Ross?
Say again?
Hiring Dwayne Ross.
Did he hire
Dwayne Ross? Yeah.
Dwayne Ross. Hiring Dwayne Ross. I think, and I say this all the time, everybody talks about the Celebration Road run, but I don't think nobody gives enough credit to how big that track run was during that period of time, man.
I concur.
I think folks don't understand how big that was, getting all those Olympians, getting all those folks that qualified, winning national titles on an individual stage,
Olympics.
damn near doing it at a team level. Dwayne Ross. I know folks are going to say Rob Broadway, and it's not a slight to Rob Broadway, but that was a phenomenal hire as well. But you ask me, it's Dwayne Ross. I'm sorry. It's Dwayne Ross.
Hilton hired Broadway, or was Broadway here first?
No, Hilton hired Broadway. That happened on the Hilton's watch.
It happened on the Hilton's watch, but I'm gonna give all the credit.
It's probably Martin. Martin probably takes more of that. But
Mr. T, what did you say?
I said it was Hilton's hire. I mean, they went after Broadway twice. They had to go to him twice to get him.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? That's 1-2. I don't know if anything bigger than those two things.
I mean, he hired Terrell Robinson too.
Yeah, but it's not nearly as big.
No. I'm just saying, I think we give him heat for some of the hires that were kind of blunders, right? So we kind of when we're talking about signature accomplishments, he had Kim Terrell Kearney, hired her too.
Yeah, there'll be 3 and 4, and I think basketball 3, and then bowling will be 4. Yeah.
So
you won a ton of championships with you as him as a AD across the board in a lot of different sports. I think the biggest accomplishment for him is that he pulled A&T's athletic program out of the gutter when he took over. I mean, let's be real. If you were back around in 2010, we were on a fast track to nowhere.
Well, the women's basketball was still good. We still had Coach Bibbs, the daughter of man. So we wasn't.
But when you talk about what was going on in the football program at the time and what was going on in the track program at the time, there was a lot of other things that were rough on the edges during that period of time. I had buddies that were still here when it was pretty rough after I graduated. I was fortunate as a senior to see a MEAC championship in football, but then it started and I think there's a balance between. You also have to have the perspective of the leadership at the chancellor level during that period of time after Rennick left too, because I think that was a factor that a lot of people don't want to discuss. You had Hackley there acting, then you had Battle there that didn't really care too much about athletics during the period of time.
The 1 year he was there,
huh? It was
the
3
1
years.
year he was there.
No. Well, Hackley was there for a year, and then you had Battle. Battle was there for 3 years.
Was it that long?
I don't think it was that long.
No, it was 3 years. I had family members that was here.
It was a forgettable 3 years.
06 to 09. It was 06 to 09.
Yeah, it didn't stand out. That was
No, he did not stand out. I met him.
it was almost like a fever dream. Did it really happen? You know,
It happened. But during that period was some of the worst years in athletics too, because nobody was paying attention. Nobody was really looking into it. So that's where the chancellor matters when it comes to that. And then Harold came in, and then the rest is history. And he made a decision to bring Earl back from student affairs back to athletics during that period of time.
I think Earl initially served as interim AD in 2010 and in 2011 when Broadway was hired. They were announced on the same day. I was at that press conference. Both of them announced on the exact same day, and they were hand in hand. They both ushered, I guess, in the golden era of A&T athletics, because you saw what the football program did, and then Craig, these guys alluded to it. This was a generational run in track and field that cannot be discounted. I said on Twitter, I wish we would have documented it more, because I mean that sounds like one of those Netflix documentary of just a school of our size being at one point we were top 3 program in the country, right? Top 3 in the country. A couple weeks we were number 1 on the men's side. So he hired them. He gets the kudos for that. And then even when Ross left, him and his family left, he hired another track and field coach, and the thing kept on going. We saw still winning conference championships. So that he got that right. A lot of things, though, I've been outspoken about. Let's just call it what it is. I thought that he had overstayed a little bit, probably since the pandemic, and I think that lack of progress really impacted us achieving what we need to do in a important time period. And I think you look at our facilities, we weren't ever able to make those paradigm shifting changes with our facilities. Let's talk about War Memorial Stadium.
Oh, I knew he was going to do
No.
Hey, Troy, good Google movie. I had the misfortune of driving by there on my way from a spring game, and almost our cussing, just once again at that neglect. Hopefully nobody looked behind the stadium to the east and saw the practice field, because the A&T practice field, which some people have promised was getting overhauled, that ain't happened. And I think the practice field was so bad they wasn't even able to practice most days on the practice field this spring. They had to practice on the stadium. That's why the middle of the field looked kind of worn out. So
I have some information on that, but I'm not going to tell y'all.
It ain't accurate. You told me already, and I don't believe it. Thank you for saving that.
94. I'm going to contact you. I'm going to tell you in the background, and then when it happens, you'll come over here and say, yeah,
right.
you did.
So
hey man, listen, the parking lot behind the baseball stadium has been paved.
If you don't, Troy.
Listen, man. You know what it's being paid for?
What?
G-Ho. The G-Ho lot.
Yeah, I think the city.
It's a parking ride, so I think maybe the city.
That is definitely. We're going to make sure we don't have no potholes with all these rental vehicles to mess up the alumni's cars.
No, it's been bad all the time, but I'm just saying it's paved, and I think the city did it because it's like an A&T parking ride, so the students use it. They probably
hindsight being 2020 and talking about Earl's reign.
Yeah,
looking at it, we probably shouldn't have entered into the agreement to buy War Memorial. That's Stadium. A whole different discussion. I definitely agree with you.
Well, here's my thing. And this is I guess my greatest, and I want to be more celebratory of Earl, because I ain't trying to kick a man while he's on his way out and all that kind of stuff. Me and him disagreed on a lot of things with the direction of this program. I've been outspoken. Earl's been steadfast. He's going to do it his way, and I think he should be celebrated for being a true Aggie. He will be a unforgettable member of the Aggie family, even after his professional relationship with the university ends. He can't put into words how much gratitude I have for what he did to kind of right the ship, as Craig was saying, with some of the challenges we were having at that point before he got there. He's a lawyer by trade. He has his I think he went to Texas Tech. He has his law degree from Texas Tech, and so he was always good with like dotting the I's and crossing the T's with compliance. I think some things, in my opinion, some things he struggled at were building coalitions. He was kind of an introvert. Wasn't one of the most. He wasn't shaking hands and kissing a lot of babies by nature. I think he made attempts. He was not a standoffish, rude person, but he wasn't like naturally charismatic either, right? So that hurt a little bit in building those coalitions. Did not do a knock. And Craig, you please disagree with me if you have any other information. I think he struggled with a fundraising vision. I think that wasn't really his wheelhouse.
I think the entire university struggles with a fundraising.
That's a whole different. Listen,
yeah, the entire university has a problem with that. It's not, I'm not going to lay that on Earl's doorstep because when you get into talk about fundraising, it goes across the board. You can't. There's only so much you can do as an AD when only 2% of your people giving to athletics.
Gotcha. And I guess that's
of 75,000 living alumni give to athletics. So we can't. When you start talking about fundraising, that's a problem with the alumni. I mean, there's only so much motivation you can do. At some point in time, we got to get off your butt, open your wallet, and take care of your school. If you're not willing to do that, then
don't run your mouth.
You don't have a conversation. Okay,
right.
We don't have a conversation until that starts happening. Then we can talk about it.
But that being said, Craig, I completely agree with what you're saying. I think, and this is why I can't put this fully on Earl. I think the university as a whole has to do better to reach out to the alumni base.
Yes,
and there's other and this is coming from somebody who's been trying to get a New England chapter up here for close to 4 years now, and I can't get one. Like I have alumni in 4 different states up here that want to do a chapter, and we've gotten pushback from the university to get a chapter stood up. When I went to Nashville against Tennessee State, they threw the shade at the university saying, we have enough Aggies for a chapter, but they won't charter us one.
That's crazy.
That's Nashville.
So that's a university problem.
Yeah, you talking about Nashville, right?
Yeah, Nashville. That and there's a lot of Aggies there. They ran a phenomenal event there prior to the Tennessee State game.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of some of this got to go on the university, and I'm hoping that Martin 2.0 hears this. And I owe him a phone call anyway about esports. So there's a lot of things going on, and I think there's a lot of turnover that's happening. It ain't just the AD. There's a lot of turnover happening at the university right now.
What
a lot.
Do you think that is being ignited by 2.0, Deuce Martin? Because I think this, he made the decision to end Coach Brown's contract prematurely, right? So I think this is his second major athletic move, right? I don't think he just walked in the office and Earl's like, you know what, I think I'm gonna retire. I think Deuce Martin facilitated Earl's departure on his own, right? So I think, and I mean,
if you decide not to renew the contract, you decide to renew the contract, right?
Right. So that's one sense. If someone retires, it's not no contract to renew. You just say, okay, I just can I talk you out of it? No.
So can I speak to this just real quick? I mean, please. Just kind of having done that. I think it was a mutually agreed upon decision. Is what it is. I don't want to make this out to be any more than what it is. I think that
I agree.
Everybody has an expiration date, and I think Earl recognizes that he is probably not the man for what is needed right now, and I think Chancellor Martin agrees with that, and this is an opportunity for him to reimagine.
Thank you. So basically, you're saying the exact same thing I've been saying for the last 6 years. Thank you. Okay, and so you're saying Chancellor Martin understands what the hell I've been saying. We need to reimagine how we go about this athletic department business.
So, but the question, but
to say that Earl is being put out to pasture, I can't go along with that.
If Earl Hilton wanted to stay 3 more years, right? You think Chancellor Martin will let him?
Yep.
I think his body of work is such that it would be allowed. However, the caveat would be probably, well, you're going to have to do some revamping, reorging of that athletics department. I mean, you're going to have to do some things differently, and I think some conversations have been had about what one's capacity is not. And again, I just think it was mutually agreed upon that, and this is just me speculating, but but just knowing his body of work and just how people want to be treated and how they should be treated, Earl is going to collect his pension, like Dave said. I mean, so it is retirement, but it is mutually agreed upon.
Yeah. So here's what I think.
Yeah,
Samaj, I agree with you that it is not. I don't believe it was Earl's wheelhouse to be the kissing babies, raising money kind of guy.
Yeah,
he's a lawyer, compliance. Let's make it work well for what we're doing. Yeah. And so I tend to believe that there. Right. In fact, I kind of know, based on some people I've spoken to,
the worst sources.
Excuse me.
You have the worst sources, by the way. Whoever telling you that
whether you know it or not, you one of my sources. No. So, but I think there was pressure to bring in somebody that can raise money in this money-needing environment. Now, what I will tell you, what I posted on Blue Death before I got on here was, I want an AD who has AD experience. I don't want somebody who's not ever been an AD.
No, I don't care about that. No,
that can raise money. That can raise money.
Yes. And I think you better have somebody who's got AD spirit.
Hey, let me finish. Has been an AD, can raise money, and I put "and" in uppercase. I would have bolded it. I would have italicized it and underlined it if I knew how to do it. That will keep us in compliance in our athletics department.
Well, first of all, you could hire. You can take care of the compliance stuff, the attention to detail by just investing the resources on people who specialize in that. I don't.
How that worked out for FAMU?
Yeah,
but they didn't invest in resources though. They didn't invest. They
said they hired like 14 people after that whole fiasco that happened in North Carolina. And they still out here not able for the postseason.
Yeah.
Listen,
like we're not doing this, man. I literally just talked about.
No. I don't. Listen, if we go the route of just hiring another damn compliance officer and saying, okay, that's the only thing we care. No, you can find people who can cross I's and cross T's and dot I's.
I don't care how it happens as long as it happens. Yes.
Yeah. I think you should say this is important. We need to invest in it like we think it's important. However, when it comes to the main guy on the top line, right? Okay, we've had that before, and it's not enough right now in this new era of football. There are schools who have general managers. That's not football, athletics. There are schools who have general managers now just for their revenue sports, right? This is a money. It's the golden rule. Whoever has the gold rules, right? This is more than ever before a money-driven operation. If you don't have the ability, talking about experience, forget about being experienced being an AD, okay? Forget about that. I'm the AD of my backyard football league. I don't need that ain't good enough. You need to have experience of asking somebody to take $1 out of their pocket and put it in yours. If you can do that, then you are at the top of the list of people who we need to come to A&T. Somebody needs to understand how to sell and promote the financial possibilities of what A&T can become.
Then advocate for the needs of the athletic department.
Yes, but the needs come with resources, and we got to get somebody who can be a hunter and gatherer. It can't just be I know we don't have enough. No, go out there, eat what you kill, bring in.
But I think we need to have somebody that has AD experience and have done the fundraising before.
We can have a deputy. We can hire.
Do we have the funding to hire these people? Do we have the funding to hire a general manager for the football program? Do we have the funding to hire a general manager for the basketball program?
Well,
and are we as an HBCU ready to go that route? Because there's some folks who don't believe it's necessary. Do we have the right people to understand that you need these things?
And that's
like
why
Tennessee Tech is a prime example of that. Have you ever looked at Tennessee Tech staff for football staff and how many people they have on their administration for the football program alone? It's almost triple what we have.
And that's why the next AD is going to have to be someone who can advocate for the needs of the department, because and what you're saying is that one person in and of themselves is not going to be able to do, all these things. And so to the extent of where we can boost up what we need to do that.
Yes.
It's mandatory. I mean, for the space that we're playing in right now. I mean, I don't know who said it, and I think it was a bit of hyperbole. David, was you, as a matter of fact. It was you. We either need to, act like we're going to be in the FBS space, or we back in the CIAA. Now, again, I think that's hyperbole, but the point being, if we want to play in the sandbox, we need to get the tools to do it.
Troy hated that quote, but that's how I feel. Like if you're trying, like when we first hired Coach Brown, the goal was to win national championships. Now, it did not happen. Let me be clear. It did not happen. But that's the goal. How are you going to get there if you're not fully investing into those programs?
Well,
you're not going to.
Here's a concern, too. Who hired Coach Brown? Harold Martin, right? And then Harold Martin retired, right? Mm-hmm. So right now, we're kind of in the same boat where people who make these decisions, they don't stick around to see them through. Who decided to go leave the MEAC? Harold Martin. So Deuce
say that
Martin,
again. Wait, before you do that, say that again, because I want people to hear that for the all want to go back to the MEAC folks and giving Earl all this heat. Say that one more time for me, Samaj. I want you to repeat that.
Well, let me ask you a question in that vein. Who decided that we should start and go to war with Iraq? In the Persian Gulf. That was George Bush, but who sold that? That was Colin Powell, right? And that's how I equate Earl Hilton.
I don't think he's Colin.
Earl Hilton is definitely Colin Powell, because he went out there and said this was the pathway, even though his boss wanted to do it, right? The job, in my opinion, as a athletic director, is to provide wise counsel, right?
And who's to say that he didn't?
We're assuming that he didn't.
But I was saying, but no, you were trying to make a point that basically Earl didn't have no say so. He was just doing what he was told.
As somebody who deals with supervisors who already have the decision in their head, and you tell them it's a bad idea, it doesn't matter if it's a bad idea or not. The supervisor says this is what we're going to do.
Well, either he's going to get if he's going to have that responsibility, or you're going to absolve him of any responsibility. You can't pick and choose. To make.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but you got to consider the circumstances at the time too. At that point, when we were making decisions to move out of the conference, A&T was at their peak. The number one public HBCU in the nation. We were bringing in research dollars hand over fist. We were growing in every aspect from that standpoint. We were number one and the largest at that standpoint. At that point, Harold owned the board. Harold could do whatever he wanted.
And it's I think history.
Whatever he wanted.
I think even the most stalwart supporter of that plan would have to concede that we did not move in preparation good enough. We went there without a true roadmap of success. And
I think the Big South move was,
and we try to figure it out as we got there.
Well, no, but the Big South move that was like planned.
That was
right?
intentional.
That was intentional. Like that was intentional. They weren't now leaving after a year. That was not intentional. That kind of just fell in our lap. And even Earl said he knew that a lot of these teams are going to struggle in here, because he knew that there was not enough resources. But Harold wanted to go. Harold wanted to go.
we took the opportunity when they opened up for new schools.
Yeah. 94. I remember I got a message, from somebody close to the football program. This was back right when we had just announced that we were going to the Big South. And they told me that, take it with a grain of salt, but this is a pretty good source. They were saying like a lot of the football coaches at the time were upset because they had already known that it was already going to be a transition to the CAA. Like this was kind of like a leapfrog there. Like the plan was always to leapfrog, and they knew that they were not going to get adequately funded to be successful when that move happened. And they were pushing back, to, I guess, some dead ears. And
that's accurate.
And they called it. They said this is their words, not mine. They said Chancellor Martin is sacrificing the football program to go R1.
That's accurate.
That is accurate.
And if Earl Hilton was a part of that, then he's Colin Powell. If you making the move like that, which is sacrificing your short-term success for to chase some waterfalls, like the girls TLC say.
We don't do TLC. Well, particularly we don't do Chile no more. But okay.
Here's what I want to know.
Yeah.
How did the coaches know that the CAA was going to open up for new membership?
They did. So they didn't know. But even beside that, though, even just moving to the Big South, there was
people forget there was good teams in that conference at the time we moved.
Yeah, there was concern and people were not happy with what
This stuff was not over, but 94. This stuff was not happening overnight. I remember, and Craig, you might remember this. There was somebody on our board who came back on an A&T fan forum a year before we went to the Big South. There was an anonymous person who came on there and said, "I heard y'all going to the Big South," and everybody's like, "You talking crazy?" And this was like a year, 9 months to a year before the official announcement was made. This stuff. It has always been in the works. It was a long time in the works.
It was in his plan. It was in Harold Martin's plan when he first came in.
It was in his
Harold Martin.
He was telling you what we were going to do
when he first showed up to the door. So people just didn't think he would do it.
And if that's the case, do you think that he should have been a little bit more intentional and prepared to make that move and to store up for that rainy day when it happened?
If it was solely about athletics, absolutely. But a lot of people don't want to hear this. This was not solely an athletic move. It wasn't. It wasn't. But before we go further,
go ahead.
Now, if we want to have the argument as to whether or not it was necessary to do this and still have R1 status, I'm open to that. I mean, because we've seen what Morgan is doing, we've seen what Howard is doing.
Right.
So it can be done. I mean, but let's not forget what the continue and I think there are probably some children here. The show, the circus that the MEAC still is to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, is anybody advocating that we go back there?
Yes, but they wrong.
Hey, no. On this panel.
Is anybody advocating we go back to the MEAC? I would not be adverse to it. I could see a pathway to where we return to the MEAC and we still would make it work for us, and we would utilize. I think you could promote it.
Nah.
No.
But Samaj, I know too much, man. No.
I can see. Listen.
Does not want us back. They don't want us back.
We're not talking about something that's going to happen tomorrow. You said is this a possibility? Probably not. But I'm not saying that I can never do it again.
I'd rather go to the SWAC.
So exactly. If you're gonna move me back to if you want us to go back to a black, send me to the SWAC. They got a better media deal down there. We could, man. Like it's more well run than it is in the MEAC. Like I don't think.
I don't disagree with that. I think the SWAC commissioner is probably one of the best commissioners in FCS.
Yeah, like if everybody's like, well, let's go back to a black conference, send me to the SWAC, yo.
And if we really want to go, the SWAC would not take us.
No. Let me say a couple things. Yeah. So when we moved to the CAA, the requirements for R1 were much more stringent than they are today.
Correct.
So we were getting over there so we could get it involved with those schools that already had it under those much more stringent requirements. But now those requirements are much less. I think it's $50 million in
no, it's already, but that was already the case. We missed about two doctorates.
No. But there was more than those things to get to R1 when we first went. So it's 50 million and 70.
Yeah, we were too short.
70 degrees.
We were too short when they checked the 2025.
No, but here's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it made it easier for Howard to get it back because they had it before.
Right.
It was easier for them.
So
Then it made it easier.
But they have more doctorate programs too. Like they have way more doctorate programs than what we have. Way more.
Yes. So that's why they got it back so quick. So that's why it makes it easier for us to get it than what it was when we first went to the CAA. The point I'm making here is this.
Yeah. Right.
At the beginning of our move, it was harder to get R1, and that was a big reason we went because Villanova and 4 or 5 schools had it. Now there are 9, or some of the schools might have left.
Right.
I think there are 9 schools in the CAA that are R1. Okay. The second thing I wanted to say was I forgot, but I will come back.
All right. Well, I think you were going to say that because you always say this. The reasons that we had for going to the Big South were different than the reasons we had to go for the CAA. Right. And that's true. I can dig that. You know, you can always make an argument to support everything after the fact. But my deal is this, right? No matter what the selling point was, you have to look at the results, right? And no one can say that the departure from the MEAC, and I don't care where we came from, I just know that we left one place and went to another place. That transition has not been handled 100% smoothly, right? Because we were promised, and this came out of Harold Martin's mouth, that we were not going to be a proverbial one-legged man in the ass-kicking contest, right? we were going to have the resources to compete at this higher echelon level, and I don't think that those resources have been given like we imagined. Facility wise, we have raised our budget. Yes, we have. I cannot take that away. We have increased the number of staff members, but to say that it's still in line with our peers now, that's not true. And
but who said that? But who said that?
It's still
who said what?
That we're aligned with our peers now. But who said that? And Harold did say that he didn't want to be in that. But Earl, after he went to CA, the first thing he said was, we're not going to be competitive in some of these sports initially. It's going to take us 3 to 5 years to be competitive in some. We're coming into this conference.
He didn't phrase it like that because
he did. He even named sports. He said we're going to be struggling in football. He said we're going to be struggling in baseball. He did name sports. I'll go look for it.
He didn't say struggling. He said I know he said that there's going to be challenges, but still he was like, we're going to find a way. And
no, but he said, he said, I expect us to be competitive in volleyball immediately. I expect us to be competitive in women's. But he also said there's a lot of ones where we got some challenges. And he named men's basketball. He named football. He named.
He said that when he came to Raleigh.
He named sports where he knew that it was not going to be fun. Now you can ask whether or not he thought it was going to be this bad. That's a whole different debate. But basketball's been rough for a while now, guys. Like we've only won one MEAC title this century. And that was once in the century, and that was in 13. And that was it.
So let's ask this question then. Obviously, you know, Earl's going to be on his way out. I guess by the end of the summer,
June 30. June 30. No. It depends on when we bring in another AD.
Right. So do you guys, right? Everybody here has some connection to the university, and everybody here. You know, Troy talks to people in his head. Everybody else talks to real people. Do you guys have your own short list of candidates who you think would make a good AD?
It's wide open, and with 2.0 being on this,
Y'all ain't gonna like what he's gonna do.
The range is going to be well. Don't speak for me.
I'm not speaking for you, but I'm just saying like Samaj ain't gonna like what he probably gonna do.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Like I told Troy, I told Troy this 2 scrimmages ago. I said Troy, if Earl contract is renewed, I'm done. I'm out. I told him, Troy, did I tell you that?
You did. You didn't lie about that. You're not lying about that.
I said I can't take no more. I said I'm about to have it's gonna be all.
It's not gonna happen now. He's probably gonna be around for the transition of the new guy.
Right. I said if we can't see the forest from the trees and know it's time to move on, then I'm gonna move on. So that didn't happen. Listen, we have got to understand the importance of this moment. You cannot just go to a go down the directory and say next man up or next woman up. Right? This can't be.
Oh no, that ain't gonna happen. You ain't gotta worry about that.
I am confident 2.0 is not gonna do that.
You ain't gotta worry about that. The biggest. I'm gonna tell you the challenges that you're gonna have with this hire. Right. The challenge is gonna be when they do hire somebody that had nothing to do with A&T, might not even have HBCU ties. And what's going to happen with the folks who used to be under that department, and how long it's going to take to hire those folks to replace them? That's going to be the biggest challenge for the next person that's going to walk in here. Hey. I would be amazed if we pick somebody with HBCU ties. There's probably like one person that it might happen with, but I don't even know that's going to happen.
As much as I appreciate Earl Hilton's sacrifice and all his hard work over the last couple of decades for my alma mater, I appreciate everybody who's been employed by A&T. However, I do envision. I envision a cleaning of the house, and I mean, it's going to be spotless, right?
And you are seeing it campus wide, and and look.
Do you want the
list? Aggie as anybody, but I am welcoming the change that we are seeing. I am,
Mr. Marsh. Do you want to hear the list of the people who have already been replaced since he's been here?
Please run it down.
Give me a second. Let me pull it up.
His cabinet. He ain't talking about athletics.
Well, I'm talking about across. Like I think you got to have the perspective.
But and I think it's going to be a domino.
All right. Effect. So far since he's been here, new chief of staff, new registrar, new provost, new chief information officer, new chief financial officer, new vice chancellor for strategic partnerships, new vice chancellor for public safety. We're going to get a new AD. We're going to get a new band director, new dean of the business school, new dean of the School of Nanoscience. That ain't even counting the fact that he was around, even though Dr. Teasley was going to get it. But it happened during his tenure when Dr. Teasley officially became the dean of college engineering. So like there's been a lot of shifting, a lot of changes, and a lot of these folks on this list, they ain't got HBCU ties.
So
some do, but not all of them.
Have you been able to discern a Martin doctrine by some of these moves? Can you handicap based on what he's done thus far, what he would look to bring in as athletic director?
Fundraising and institutional efficiency.
He wants somebody there where he knows that they're going to work and he doesn't get bothered by it.
What you mean bothered by it?
As in, he wants to focus on his research stuff that he's doing. He wants to focus on R1. He doesn't want to have to hear about the athletic department.
He wants to delegate that to somebody who's confident.
He wants to get somebody in there where he ain't got to micromanage it.
Okay, how much does and like I say, I don't want to feel like I'm just throwing sand on his grave and all like that, his professional grave, but there are areas where I look to say that Earl was not the strongest in communication, fundraising, and this personal relationships, like all that kind of stuff. Does the next athletic director need to be more of an ambassador, more of a gregarious character, somebody who hey, that's so and so. That's need more to be more of the face.
I will say this. Say this. I agree. I think so. But based on who he's been hiring, I mean, Chancellor Martin 2.0 is pretty reserved himself.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Like he's very, but he gets stuff done. Like he execute. Folks know what he wants, and he gets what he needs to go get. He's very data driven.
right.
So like he gets what he wants. So I wouldn't be shocked if the next person's reserve and might have a reservation to him.
They have to be an excellent communicator. You
But
don't
as long as they're a good communicator, that's all that matters.
You
Ultimately,
don't have to be gregarious, but you're going to have to be able to work a craft.
All right. Well, with Troy, let's go ahead and. I mean, do you feel comfortable throwing out a couple of names just for giggles here? Do you have some guys who your fantasy? Let's give me a fantasy couple guys who you think might be a great replacement for Earl Hilton. Anybody?
I have no idea. I'm looking for somebody like what I said. Previous AD experience, can raise money, and is able to keep us in compliance, however they do
it. Craig, you got a wild card that you want to introduce?
No, but I got an idea of where it is. I'm kind of like Dave. I know I got a good idea of where he's headed as far as the type of AD he's going to be looking for, and I don't believe it'll be anybody that we're familiar with. It's going to be somebody. It's going to be somebody who has a really good background in all things we've mentioned, as far as fundraising and organization and setting up a whole new athletic department, because that's where we're headed. There's going to be a complete restructuring, and that's going to take somebody who understands how to build structures, just like it'll take somebody who understands how to go about raising the necessary funds, not only for NIL but for facilities renovation and new construction.
It may not be a current AD. It may not be.
You're right. It may not be a person who is a current AD, but somebody who's been heavily involved in AD
at the Power 4 level
responsibility. So it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if it's a top associate AD from somewhere. Or it would not surprise me if it's a former athletic commissioner of a conference, of an outside conference. That I think is if you looking at the people he's hired so far, everybody's hired has a expertise for what he wants to have done. And his thing is to get the R1 and get it established and locked in. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do as far as an AD is concerned. I can tell you, but I'm of the opinion once that choice is made, there will be a restructuring of the athletic department. I mean, that's almost a given. It's going to be restructured on how things operate, chain of command, positions. It's going to be a complete overhaul. It's got to be, because the era that we're entering in now is not what it was when Earl came in as AD.
Craig Turner. Thank you. The job that we have now is not the job that Earl was hired for.
I have nothing but utmost respect for Earl Hilton. Yeah. I've always had a great personal relationship with him. He did an outstanding job here at A&T, but the landscape is different, and it calls for a different skill set. So I'm not one to go back and start, doing the what if and it should have been and all that sort of stuff. What's past is past. What I'm concerned about is the future. And the biggest thing is that we've got to be able to establish a strong, because we're not going anywhere anytime soon unless there's some major conference realignment on the FCS level again. We're not going anywhere. So we've got to be able to establish a strong foothold in terms of competition and equity in facilities in the CAA. That's got to be one priority. And then number two priority, we got to be able to raise money. And you're going to need a lot of it with the amount of sports that we have. We're not like UNC Wilmington or College of Charleston, where we can dump $5-6 million into basketball and call it a day.
No.
You know, we got football, we got track, baseball, softball, tennis, golf, men's and women's basketball. That's going to take a huge amount of money over a period of time, and it's going to keep increasing until the NCAA does one of two things. They either put some sort of hold on transfers, or they enter into a collective bargaining agreement with players and treat them as employees.
And neither one of those is going to happen.
I think that's about the only two ways I can see that Division I sports, not only for FCS but for FBS, can survive, because right now the money's just totally out of hand. You're talking about pro contracts now. I mean, some of these guys are making more money than they would make as a rookie in professional sports. What is it? Somebody signed a football player or a basketball player the other day for $8 million on a 2-year deal for $8 million.
You ain't getting that as
I know a
NBA.
guys played in the NFL for. They got guys in the NFL that's been playing 6, 7 years, 6, 7, 8 years, and don't make that kind of money.
Well,
So it's gonna take somebody who's got the financial know-how and the marketing know-how to navigate through this. And this person's going to have to be a navigator. And you got to hire them, let them bring in the people that they feel that they need to get it done. Restructure that entire athletic department from top to bottom, and then hit the ground running.
Okay,
it's going to be a big job.
Do you
it's
think
it's a big job? But
quick, do you think that do you think that Deuce Martin, James Martin, do you think that he is going to be his hand orchestrating that transition, or do you think that he just going to, like some people said, he's going to hire the right guy, exit stage left, and really give that person a mandate to be a change agent? Because that's what I was disappointed most about the Vincent Brown era. We actually gave him a mandate when we brought him in here from William and Mary, and we didn't live up to it. Like we in his contract, I got to have my resources right. I got to have my locker room and my practice field, and we didn't give that to him, right? I want us to give the mandate to this next athletic director to take us to where we've never been, but we got to empower him, and Well, from Dave, that's very encouraging. The fact that all those people you named, that Deuce Martin said, out with the old, in with the new. And so I think, like say, so far he seems like he's trying to overturn the apple cart. And I got the sense that he made a decision at the athletic director position that I want somebody new. I don't think he was just broadsided by Earl Hilton walking in like, I'm done. Like I think it was opposite. Okay.
He was the last of the original cabinet. So
yeah. So
he's the only one. He's the last one left.
But do you finally think that we're gonna be able to ride down? What's that? Is that Sullivan, and not look at that damn Pelican Bay prison fence? It's all
I'm
the
gonna tell you something, man.
All the little things going to start mattering again with the athletic department.
Well, I mean, the first step is we got to continue to fundraise money to make sure we can try to keep some consistency within the program in regards to our student athletes. Like, we got to do that first, and that's the big thing, because look, I won't talk about it on public setting, but man, some of the numbers I was hearing that some of these players was asking for on the basketball side, man,
ridiculous. We can't compete.
Like that's what part of that is where my take came from, because I'm like, we can't be out here paying that type of money for these folks. And we saw that Lewis Walker ended up going to UCF, and I'm pretty sure he got that money. He got the bag he wanted, and I'm happy for him. Good luck to him. But
hey, I do want to backtrack on my AD thing a little bit.
Yeah,
and that is similar to what Deuce Martin where he came from, I think there could be a chance that we get an AD like this, an associate AD that comes from a much larger program where his part of the work or budget is even larger than ours. And so he's seen, or they've seen a much larger program operate and all the different things that they do and all the innovations that they do that we don't do. So it could be somebody who hadn't been an AD before, but they've been in a situation where they've seen a lot of more than what we have.
I think that's the most likely scenario.
Yeah. And to sum this up, everybody here kind of, and I get the sense even in the chat that people look at this as an opportunity to, to kind of. It's not like the biting the nails like, oh gosh, Earl Hilton's leaving. What are we gonna do? I think a lot of people are kind of encouraged by this opportunity now, right? Is that fair to say?
Hey man, in all of this, we'll see what happens. He changed. Matter of fact, didn't Harold Martin do the same thing? Didn't he replace virtually all his folks once he came in over a certain period of time?
Not everybody.
No,
not everybody. No.
Yeah. So
I mean, this but the cabinet, that's normal. But like, there's a lot of other things that weren't necessarily changed when Martin got here. There's a lot of folks that stuck around. I mean, he wasn't replacing deans. I can tell you that.
So with the territory, right? You when you come in, you want to have your folks that are more.
Yeah. No, this is normal stuff. I was the same way when I first became a supervisor. Like you want to get your folks in because your success is dependent on your team.
Right. Yeah.
You'll keep people if they're good. If they're good, I'm pretty sure they're like, all right, we're gonna keep you around.
And your ability to trust who's around you.
Yes. Yeah. You gotta remember, man, like Deuce Martin had parents and family members that went to HBCUs, but he did not go to one. So he's out here, he's seeping around trying to figure out who he can trust. He's trying to build that coalition. He's been over a year trying to build that. And I think he's got his circle. So I think he's rocking with it.
Okay.
He's rocking with it.
This is going to be an ongoing story. We'll be all here all night. We kept on going, but we got to get out of here. And if there's any more like announcement on AD, we might do a special Blue Death After Dark. Doug Brown, he couldn't make it. He's doing his AD Fresh stuff over in High Point with the Red Raider baseball program. He said he looked like the Yankees tonight, man. They had a rough season, but they I guess down the final games they kind of hit their stride. So we'll get AD Fresh back here next time. But let's just go around the horn and give you some final thoughts. We had a great show, talked about the spring game and of course the impending change in the athletic director position. Dave, take us out of here.
I ain't really going to talk about the spring game, but I'll just leave you out with this. I think we're gonna win 6 games this year.
Okay, 6. So we got 12 games or 11 games on the schedule.
12.
So we go 500.
500 season.
500.
6
okay.
6.
T. Roy.
Hey man, I'm a little excited to see what's going to happen with our defensive line. We didn't have a few players that practiced this during the spring game that are big. So, and we're bringing in a freshman, maybe 2 freshmen defensive tackles, one over 300, one like 290. They're not like nose tackle types, but we're bringing those in. Plus, we got Cabanas. God, I can never remember how to say his name, but he came back from last year. He was a true freshman that got a lot of playing time. We got a 6'5" kid from St. Francis. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what this defensive line is going to do for us. I think it's the second most important position on the football team. So, yeah, we'll see how it all goes.
Okay. And overall, were you encouraged by the front seven? Do you think that I still think they're a little undersized, like on this past Saturday. What was your takeaway from?
Well, you only saw one of the bigger ones, and there was one kid, number 97, that was the transfer from St. Francis.
Okay.
That was taller. And you saw, I think it's the Johnson C. Smith transfer that was number 99. I'm not sure.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, we was trying to figure that out. The number might have been wrong there.
And then
there was a lot of numbers that were inaccurate in the program that got sent.
Right, but I think somebody told me that 99 was a Johnson C. Smith transfer. So we had 2 or 3 kids stand on the sideline that are big kids, so you didn't see those. And then we got a couple coming in. Matter of fact, we got that 6'5", 250-pound defensive end coming in. So yeah. When the fall comes, we're gonna see. I think we're gonna look a little bit different. Hopefully, injuries don't derail our season again.
But we owe some good luck. We are due some good luck because like last year it was comical. But
Yes.
94, give me something.
In looking at the new coaches that Coach Gibbs brought in, a lot of intentionality. Start with Jackson. He was on the staff when Gardner Webb, came here and beat us in 21. They came back and, he was at West Florida, which is a perennial powerhouse at West Florida. Donovan Jackson was actually on the staff when Broadway came in. He was on the staff where we were at our low point. So he knows where we were in regards to building a program. And the same holds true for, I forget his name, Cheek, I think is his last name.
Yeah.
He was here, albeit for a year, but he was here in that first year in terms of building. So when we talk about Gibbs and his emphasizing the culture, I think you're seeing, where that is. So, I mean, that gives me promise. And lastly, I don't know if we covered it because I came in, just before the beginning, but I think we'd be remiss if we did not take a moment to express our sincere condolences to the family of Kelvin Broadhurst and that tragedy that befell us this week.
And he was a defensive lineman, and I think he was going to be a senior. And,
he was a senior,
and he passed away in a tragic motorcycle accident this past weekend. That's just,
Yeah, he's ADA chapter too. They did a memorial service for him last night.
I don't remember seeing him at practice at all.
I don't know if he was still in our program. I think he might have been like going to the transfer portal. I think someone said, but he was an Aggie. I guess some would say a fan favorite while he was here. People spoke highly of him, nothing but good things to say about him.
I talked to him several times.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to figure out defensive line, right? So I'm over there watching them and talking to them. I talked to them several times. Yeah.
And it's just like, you think you're gonna get a chance to have one more conversation with people, and like life is what I tell you. You never can take it for granted. So devastating as a parent, I can't even imagine. Prayers definitely going to that family. Hopefully they get some type of healing. They can make sense of this. But I saw that. That was a terrible news. Probably, how old is he? Like 20.
20.
He's 20. Good Lord, man. Just too tragic.
Only child, all that. And his dad passed, I think they said last September. I don't know what, but yeah.
So we gotta put some energy towards that family, especially the mom who's is gonna have to bury her son. So that's a tough deal. That's a tough deal.
Wow. So that means he was playing during the season his dad passed. Very much like Chris Allen's dad passed.
Chris Allen had a situation like that. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. You don't know what people are going through, man. So I say always try to give people grace. But yeah, it's tragic.
Craig, didn't you post something in the forum? Okay.
Yeah,
do you talk on that?
Yeah, we're the Greensboro chapter of the Aggie Athletic Foundation has decided to take donations as a tribute to Kelvin and to help his brother through this transitional period. So if you care to donate to that fund, you can do so by going to inside bluetailvalley.com, posted there under the appropriate topic list on there. You can also go to our Facebook page at Aggie Athletic Foundation on Facebook, Greensboro chapter, and you can donate money there as well. And it's all the proceeds. Every cent goes to his family.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'll probably make a new banner that's as big as day on the front page of the site, and then I'll have a bunch of links here in the description of this
Yeah,
video.
you can use our link. Yeah, because
Okay,
I've already set up the account for it. Yeah,
Oh,
I
good
already
deal.
set
Good
up the
deal.
account for it and everything. So all you need to do is click on the link and
Yeah.
click on the amount um, and that's it. And hit you know
Hit 'em up.
enter.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Good deal. All right. Any other news we need to talk about before we get out of here? Anybody got any other announcements? I saw they're doing a Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jackson. They're doing an official memorial
Day of service.
during his service.
service.
People were asking how we're going to honor his passing, and the school is stepping up with some cool stuff. Go to the NCAT. I won't say the other word. It sounds like opposite of a dog. NCAT.edu, and you'll find all details about that. So for Dave, A&T Roy, two-time defending champ, 94, and of course my right-hand man, CT. Doug Brown couldn't make it, but he is there in spirit. I am Smaj Marsh. It's been a great episode of recapping the spring game, spring camp, and also talking about the new road ahead for the athletic department with the announcement that Earl Hilton stepping down. It's been a fun episode of Inside the Valley. We will see you probably in a couple of months, but if anything happens, we'll see you guys sooner. So till then, Aggie Pride.
Aggie
Pride.
Yeah, Aggie Pride. You kill me.